And we are live, episode 4 of the Bayou Dragons podcast. We got a couple of new faces today. Y'all have seen Matthews if you've watched our YouTube, and he kind of takes care of all that. He'll go into a little in-depth on that. And then the one on the very right, I guess maybe y'all's left, I'm dyslexic, is Joe. Joe has finally made it.
The question we all ask, where did he come from? Where did he go? Where the hell is he going? That's old Joe on the end, and we welcome him, and it's a treat to have him on.
Hell yeah, Joe.
Joe's been gone for quite some time.
He has. Joe works turnarounds and all kinds of bullshit, but he's here, and we're just glad. He's a great hand for grabbing beers for us while we're doing this.
But your work cut out for you there, Joe.
Yeah, he does. Matt, you can kind of just introduce yourself real quick. They've kind of met me, Mitch, and Tanner, so
yeah. So you guys have probably seen me a little bit throughout on TikTok. I run the YouTube. I make the edits, post the videos. These guys, we all work shift work like they touched on before. We have a hard time sometimes when we're on different shifts getting in touch with each other and shooting videos and getting content together, but we spend as much time as we can outside of work together. So, but yeah, if you guys have seen us on YouTube, I made an intro video there, and you've probably seen me in some of the content on TikTok as well. Porter needs a beer.
This is also my little brother, Matthew, in case anyone didn't know.
Yeah, if you can't see the family resemblance. I have the better mustache, though.
That's debatable.
You will see.
Anyway.
Give it a month.
There's just a certain topic that I really want to hammer on this first half that it's been lingering now for almost 2 weeks. And it's
been longer than that.
Has it been?
It has been.
We just never touched on it. And Mitchell has a damn good story.
It's not really, it is very, interesting story. So this is just completely random to this podcast, but the other day I was coming home, I was running some errands, and the place where I'm living right now, it's kind of located near a bunch of stores and a big neighborhood for the time being. That's where I'm staying. And I was driving home, and about to pull into my driveway, and there was a car rammed into my front porch. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't know what the hell to think. So I whipped into my driveway, and I ran around the house, and this girl she's crashed into my front porch, and she's passed out at her steering wheel. She's obviously on something. She's on drugs or she's been drinking or whatever, but all her doors were locked, and she was like convulsing, almost like I thought she was having a seizure. But anyway, I started beating the shit out of the glass. I was like, hey, are you all right? Just fucking beating the shit out of the glass, and no response. Like, she was like I don't know what the hell you call it, just fucking twitching tripping. And shit,
just tripping.
And I was like, shit, I got to call, 911. So I called 911, and I was trying to be composed on the phone. I said, hey, I got a girl. She's crashed into my front porch, and she's not responding to, me beating the shit out of this glass. She's unresponsive is what I told him. Like, all right, we'll send some units over there. And I was like, you need to send a damn ambulance too, because she's fucked up, And anyway, it wasn't like 4 minutes. They showed up, and they got the door open and got her out of there. And then a couple of minutes went by, and she was she perked up, anyway.
Came off the high.
So luckily she didn't damage my house or anything. She just kind of rammed into like a giant. We have a bunch of different plants and stuff in the front. She didn't actually hit my house, but she hit like some concrete steps and like completely rammed into all my plants. But anyway, they started searching her car, And I was standing off to the side. I had like 5 police officers standing in my yard. And one of the guys walked over to me, and he was like, well, if I could just be guessing here, this woman's probably on some sort of narcotics, I was like, yeah, obviously. So she's literally, I opened my door, the car's right there, so I'm watching them search her car. They're pulling out like syringes, and she's got all kinds of shit in there. I was like, man, I felt bad for her, but at the same time, she almost plowed through my living room.
Oh,
so,
dude, and you sent me the pictures. She was, almost in your front door.
What was great was the Snapchat. Mitchell's like, I loved getting home from the gym. And it's his face. Getting home from the gym, and then this shit happens. And he opens the door, and it's the car 3 foot from his door. And there's just a chick, and it just...
Oh, dude. Oh, my.
Tripping. We're glad she's okay. But also, hey, don't do so many drugs.
Maybe don't.
But that story has been the topic of discussion. So every time someone drives by, like Matt drive by the other day and goes, I just want to rail that house.
Dude, I almost parked my truck in his front door. Just because I could. Just because I knew from that point forward that there were no repercussions, I guess.
Yeah, there is no repercussions. You can just drive through people's houses in Mid-County, I guess. No,
that shit really surprised me, though. Like, I was worried about the girl when I saw her because she was, like, twitching and everything. I thought she was going to die or something because had she missed my house and not rammed into my porch, she would have went into a canal. So she's lucky she hit my house and not just went straight into that canal because she was messed up.
Yeah. Well, we're glad everybody's good and your house is fine.
Was it a weekday?
I think it was in the middle of the week, actually like a Wednesday or something. So,
yeah. Oh, hell of a way to spend a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, that's God's day. But besides that, I don't think nothing nuts as someone driving through their house has happened to us. But
I don't know. I got married. That's kind of nuts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can kind of touch on that. You've been...
I don't know if you need to touch on it.
Well, I know that old Matt, he's been incognito from the group, kind of like Joe.
Yeah, Matthew's been absent. That's uncharacteristic for me. Now, Joe, on the other hand.
You never know with old Joe, man. He appears, and then he's gone, and then he appears once again. It's like today he called me out of nowhere. I was very surprised that old Joe called, but always happy to have Joe around. And what a good guy old Joe is, and I can't stress that enough. Old Joe, ever since I've known him, has been a great friend and just always a great dude.
He's the wild card.
Yes.
You never know when he's going to show up.
Joe,
and when he's here, you're pleased.
You don't have to say many words for this, but the whole catfish story I did the other day, you were the one that witnessed it. Just say if it was true or not. False. You son of a bitch.
What catfish story are you talking about?
I was talking about the one where it went through my foot, and then all the doctors again on TikTok.
Oh, they got after you.
Dude, I love the doctors on TikTok are great.
It's my favorite thing, sending daily reminders to Porter about all of the false claims he's made on the podcasts, and just reminding him that, there's millions of doctors out there on Facebook who don't agree.
All probably have degrees in the medical field.
All of them PhDs, and stay in your lane.
Yeah.
So Joe was there for when you stepped on that carcass, a hardhead carcass.
Yes, Joe was there. I'm not going to say who we're all with, but it was me, Joe, and Uncle Bo. And Joe was there. He witnessed it. Joe was the one who poured the Everclear on my foot.
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. Supposed to go somewhere else.
Yeah, we were actually. So we went home. But anyway, anything else super exciting? I know that last weekend me and Rance fished a good tournament on Rayburn. Did pretty good. 4th place overall. I wasn't complaining about that. Probably the best day of fishing I've had, though, in a very long time.
Now where did y'all catch them? I know it's kind of getting past prime time for bass fishing. Where did y'all y'all fish a little deeper? It's so hot now.
Man, we're fishing those main lake points. First inning, we were fishing about 8-9 foot of water, casting up, bringing it back in. The one thing that Rayburn has that Toledo Bend or a bunch of these other lakes around here, they have great grass, and it's fantastic to fish. So this tournament was really neat. It was 2 periods. First period was 4 hours, and you and your partner could weigh in each 5 fish, your lake limit. So you can weigh in 10, and then you had a 1 hour break to weigh in, and then you went back out for 4 hours and tried to catch 10. First inning, we did weigh in 10 fish. We're sitting like 6th or 7th place, and then second one, we went to a main lake point, and it was an island in between the point and like the main lake, and it was like hydrilla mats, just in about 6 foot of water.
Love that.
I just put the autopilot on or spot lock, and 4 hours we sat in the same spot and destroyed them.
Dude, I will fish hydrilla. I love running a swim bait through hydrilla.
I believe your mat, like you sleep on hydrilla, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of us that fish, mainly fish soft plastic, right? Most of us, I would say. But the person that I know that finesses that soft plastic the best is old Joe here on the end. Can finesse the shit out of some soft plastic. I don't care if it's a lizard, a Cinco, anything soft plastic. Old Joe, man, he can finesse the hell out of it.
Joe is he holds also with me big bass on the 2 Moon Junction, and you and him won the overall tournament.
Yeah, Joe and I also caught the biggest trolling motor.
That is a story.
That is a story.
Go
We'll
ahead.
get there.
I mean, you can reiterate on that story, or we can talk about, because it hasn't been live, Mitchell and Joe's story.
Let me tell you that it's a teaser. I might touch back on it in a minute. You want to tell it now?
You can tell it now, or you can tell Mitchell and Joe's story.
Oh, I can't tell that one. That one can't be
Start
told
at the
by me.
beginning.
Start at the beginning.
No, I'm not telling the story. That's
Mitchell.
Are you talking about the story?
the story.
That story's not going to be mentioned on this podcast.
Oh,
It
come on.
should.
Or on any social media
It has to,
platforms.
man.
No,
It has to.
that story's for the archives, man.
Okay, well, look, I'll tell ours. So, Mitchell's my older brother. Mainly friends with Porter since I've been growing up. These two guys are like brothers to me. Joe was introduced essentially as a brother to me later on. There was a year where Mitchell got hung up at work and couldn't fish the 2 Moon. This is a tournament they fish every year. He calls me and he says, "Hey, man, I need you to go up there and fish for me. You and Joe are going to fish together." At the time, Joe didn't have a boat. I didn't have a boat. Had to string it together. Ended up calling a buddy, got a boat. We went out there and we went and fished it. What was it? Was it day 1 or day 2? We lost the big motor.
That was day 2.
We blew a fuse on day 2, and we were not close. We were far out.
First off, what kind of boat were you in?
This was probably a 17-foot center console aluminum boat with a Yamaha 90 on it. Okay, we are not well equipped.
Clamp on trolling motor.
With a butterfly clamp trolling motor. The cheapest Minn Kota you can buy. Very cheapest. Lowest end, you can get it off the shelf at Academy. We go out, blew a fuse on the 90. Okay, and me and Joe, I'm not an outboard guy. I've never ran outboards. I had one, had hell with it. Not a big outboard guy. I don't know what I'm doing. I pull the cowling off, and it's like hieroglyphics. So we start trolling. Motor won't turn over. Dead as a bat. Run the trolling motor. We stripped the plastic on the, like the clamp, right? So we had steel screws to the butterfly clamp with like a plastic housing. Stripped it. I go to grab the trolling motor and take off, and it jumps off the front of the boat. Sinks. All the way to the bottom. We're in like 18 foot of water.
Yeah, it's the boat lane of Toledo Bend.
Literally. we are like Carolina rigging in 18 feet and no motor. No trolling motor, no big motor, no nothing. Last ditch effort. I was about to jump in, right, and just swim to the bottom and do my best.
Didn't you try?
I think I did. I think I jumped in after it.
You submerged.
I submerged after it. So I jumped in after it, couldn't catch it. It sunk too fast. I grabbed my rod that I had Carolina rigged and started I chunked it where I thought the motor was, and sure enough, caught the fucking trolling motor.
First cast.
Was it first? First cat? Okay.
Joe remembers, man.
Joe
First
remembers
cast,
better than I
ripped
do.
that Minn Kota.
I thought I had hell with it. I guess, first cast. Ripped the Minn Kota and the rod was almost touching itself. It was bent over so bad. That thing was waterlogged. I pulled it all the way up. We stuck it back on the front of the boat, stuck it to the battery, and it ran. And we trolled all the way back. Trolled all the way back to Palagacho. And we Carolina rigged in Indian Flats. Yeah. And we weighed in fish, and we didn't lose. That was what we were really pushing for.
As long as you don't get last place, man.
We did not want the rod of doom. That was one thing that Mitchell told me. Do not bring home the rod of doom.
If you're going to fish with my partner, you're not going to get last.
Absolutely not.
Wait.
You know who caught the fish that we weighed in?
Joe
Archie.
But you have got last, though.
I haven't. I've only fished it once.
Not you. Mitch and Joe.
All right, man. You're wanting me to tell the story. I'll tell the damn story. And it's not because I'm ashamed of the story. It's because I want people to learn from my mistakes. So this tournament that we fish every year, it's a very important, we've talked about it in previous podcasts, very important tournament to, all of us and everyone that fishes it. So this is me and Joe's first year fishing this tournament. And, man, we're just trying to put together 5 fish. We're trying to catch 5 fish to weigh in. So I think we had we had 2 3-pounders or 2 3-pounders and a 2 or something. And Joe, man, old Joe reared back. I was like, oh shit, man, he's got a good one. No, Joe was like, I'm hung. I was like, all right, I didn't think nothing of it. Well, I turned around, old Joe's, he's still bowed up. Man, he sets the hook. This fish comes up to the boat. He thought he was hung up. He sets the hook on this fucking toad, man. And he sets the hook on it, and I see this fish, dude. It is a cod. And it just darts down. Old Joe fights this fish for a while, and I ran off and I dropped my rod and grabbed the net. He gets the fish up to the boat. I jabbed it once like I usually do. I'm not the best on the net. I will say that. Joe knows, I've netted a bunch of his fish. I jabbed that fish. And then he brought it up again, and I netted him. Joe picks that fish up out of the water, and this fish is every bit of – I'm undercutting it at 8 pounds. That was at least an 8-pound fish, Joe. We both know it. Anyway, 8-pounder. Joe lips him. We put him in the live well. We are pumped. We are fist bumping. We got our it was on the 3rd or 4th fish, first time fishing the Two Moon Junction tournament, and we got a hog. And
A slaunch.
And anyway, we're all pumped up, and we keep fishing. We ended up catching our 5, I believe. And anyway, so the main point of the story, which I'm going to, tell everybody this just because I'm not ashamed of it. It just happened. And anyway, so we're trolling back in a cove. We're trying to catch some more fish, and there was a little pontoon boat with an old couple. They were crappie fishing, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty cocky, man. I was pumped. Joe was pumped too.
Thinking you're about to go back and win this thing.
Yeah,
I know this was my first time to bass fish since I was probably 6 years old, 11 years old.
Hung into a toad.
and you got to understand before I tell the rest of the story. First tournament we've ever fished. This is the first one, so y'all can talk all the trash you want. I'm just telling you what happened. So anyway, this old pontoon boat comes up to us, and we get to talking to them. They're nice people. They're friendly, and hey, y'all doing any good? Y'all catching some fish? Yeah, we're fishing a tournament. And what happened is my fault entirely. I turned to Joe, and I said, Joe, show him that big one you caught.
Show him the hog.
Show him the hog. And Joe opens that live well. I'm not kidding, man. that fish. Joe went down to grab that fish, and that 8-pound hog just leaps out of that live well. Out of the live well, it jumps out of the live well into the lake, just like that, during a tournament. And, it was a learning experience for both me and Joe. When someone comes up to you in a tournament and they all no, we ain't caught shit. That's what you tell them. You ain't caught a damn thing. But me and Joe, we were proud of that fish, and we were excited, and we wanted to show it off. And we opened the live well, and it jumped back into the lake. And since then, we've definitely learned from it, and we'll never do anything like that again.
But how many years ago was that?
Oh, that was a long time ago. That was 2000, I don't know, 11, 12.
You were still in high school.
Yeah, we're still in high school.
It's, many years ago. You've
10.
learned a lot since.
Well, and what's great about that whole story is, that happened. You feel bad for him, but then also it's like, well, shit happens.
Yeah.
But 5 years later, y'all didn't even lose that year. You just lost what potentially could have been the big bass.
It would have
We
been
lost.
a big bass.
We lost. That was the Rod of Doom year.
Yeah, that was the Rod of Doom year. I think
It was our
got
very first year.
Do you
Lost
remember what
bass.
big bass was that year?
6 pounds.
Yeah, it was only like 6 pounds.
Oh, y'all would have had it.
I thought y'all got the Rod of Doom and then handed it over and won.
No, it was several years after.
okay.
It was the first year that we lost. I got last place, lost the big fish, and then a couple of years went by, and then we won.
Well, it's kind of it's in rotation now that if you get the Rod of Doom, you get in the top 4 places, and they ended up winning it, and it was great because they were sitting in the middle of the lake. We text them, and it's 5 minutes before weigh-in. It's like, hey, man, y'all got anything or whatever? And Joe just, no, dude, we ain't got shit. We ain't got shit.
He learned.
He learned. They pull up jamming fucking Co-Wetzel or something like that, and they pull out there 4, and then Joe just, this hammer. I was like, of course. Of course they do.
I guarantee you, when you win the Rod of Doom, when you lose the Rod of Doom, right? Because you don't win it. You win it from losing. That's got to light a fire under your ass.
Well, now it's not even the Rod of Doom anymore. It's actually pretty cool, though, the plaque of Doom, I guess.
The plaque of Doom.
The plaque of Doom.
If I ever sub in, I do not want my name on that.
My grandfather holds the first ever Plaque of Doom award, and he was the one who started this originally 40-something years ago.
He's a native.
He is a native.
Knows the lake better than probably anybody.
Yeah, he's
Anybody that fishes that tournament.
yeah. Besides maybe Mark Porter.
Yeah.
I would say I definitely prefer. I know Rayburn has a really good bass fishing, and you can catch a lot of good bass on Rayburn, but I prefer fishing Toledo just because there's not all that water recreation going on. It's not as crowded, and you're gonna catch fish. There's some really good fishing on Toledo.
And what I have seen or heard throughout the years, and I just laugh. There's people that are diehard Rayburn, and there's people that are diehard Toledo. But what I've seen is people that fish Rayburn and catch fish in Rayburn, dude, there ain't no fish on Toledo. Can't catch a fish on Toledo. But everybody I know that fishes Toledo is like, dude, it's so easy to catch fish on Rayburn.
Yeah.
Y'all have grass. Y'all have this. You have that. You have a lot of bait.
I feel like Rayburn is more of a universal place to fish. You have more dynamic environments, I feel like.
Well, it's been rated in the top 10 20 times in the last 30 years or 40 years,
Well, on Toledo, you can fish a lot of the same structure throughout the entire lake. I feel like on Rayburn, you can shoot across the lake and be in an entirely different environment.
Well, there's the grass. They killed off all the grass on Toledo with all that chemical they sprayed.
Yeah, it's a barren wasteland.
Messed up a bunch of our good spots.
But I know
It's coming back.
I know people, though, that fish
Come back.
tournaments on Rayburn, dude, I can't ever catch a fish on Toledo. It's you just got to learn how to fish some mud.
Yeah.
Was it how many times had you been out on Rayburn Porter when you took me and Luke out in a high school fishing tournament?
I don't know, but that just reminded me of that time, that 1 ounce,
Oh, the tungsten.
Oof. That Matthew hung up on a good fish. So right out of high school, I was a captain for Matthew and another dude named Luke Leach.
I hope he sees this.
Does.
It'll bring back a really bad memory for him.
And
I hope he laughs about it too.
they were I told Matthew, fish, soft plastic, they're going to bite. And Matthew was catching some fish with soft plastic, but he was swapping between like Carolina rig, wacky worm.
Well, no,
Texas rig.
I was punching grass mats with that 1 ounce.
No, I know, but
Drop
I'm
it
saying
down
you
in there.
stayed. Luke was swapping baits every 5 casts, wasn't catching shit. And I remember you threw on a 1 ounce tungsten, and he flips it up into a giant lily pad mat, and then probably about a 3 or 4 pounder smashes it, hooks it, comes out, it jumps. When Matt, all that tension, it popped out, and that 1 ounce tungsten smashed Luke right in the middle of the forehead.
Right in the forehead.
Dude, I'm in the front of the boat, and it just sounds like, pow. Like, I thought he broke his skull.
Dude, I really thought, now Luke's grown since then. We were in high school. This was a little guy I thought was going to rip my head off. I really thought he was going to kill me. He was so mad.
Well, yeah, you smashed him in the head in the freaking
All of
dome with
of
the
that
tungsten.
anger, all of that pain. He looked at me, and I saw the devil in his eyes.
Oh, dude.
I thought he was going to rip my head off.
Dude, and it swole up like a Copenhagen can.
Dude, it was huge. We went back to the weigh-in, and people were like, every time he walked by, and people were doing this.
Just looking at him.
Oh,
Looking
bro.
at him. He tried to put his ball cap on. He had to pull the buttons off. He had to pull the buttons off. And adjust it. 2 sizes bigger.
I felt so bad, but also I laughed my ass off because that's not the first. That was probably the second best time ever. The best time anyone's ever got hit in the face I've seen and not been totally injured was Keaton had a damn 8-inch pop R one time, a chug bug, and she was fishing. A bass went up, swirled it, hit it, and when she set the hook, it flew and hit Paul right in the chin. And it stuck, barb just deep in his chin, and he just cut the line. And we're driving back to the house so we could like rip it out, and there's just an 8-inch bait swinging from his chin, just smashing his neck. Just, I was like, Jesus Christ!
What a time.
But the tungsten, I would have been upset about the tungsten.
Yeah, I know that hurt. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
I would.
I mean, it was coming at it like an MLB pitcher threw it. It was coming with some heat. It had to have been. I mean, it was moving.
Yeah.
I wish I knew what I could reference the speed to. It was like a fastball to the face.
It was like 2008 Billy Wagner throwing 102 miles per hour. Just
Dude, I'm surprised he didn't like crack his face or something.
I don't know, but
It was bad.
I know we talked about on the last podcast. What was the worst pain you ever had? I guarantee Luke would say a 1 ounce
he
tungsten coming in at 200 miles per hour to my forehead.
Oh, that would definitely be up there for him. I don't know that I've ever experienced something like that.
No, he built character that day.
He gained a lot of character. I got to take these pit vipers off.
No, you don't.
Future just got a little darker.
Leave them on. Dude, so reading some of these comments, I know we're not supposed to read comments of haters, but some of them always get me when they're like, these are just a bunch of dudes that don't know what they're doing. Don't hunt, they don't fish, they don't do this.
And that's probably how they sound. Like the way you're talking
Yeah.
right now, that's probably how they talk.
They're a bunch of wannabe rednecks. They want to, and it's like, hey, first off, fuck off. But it's funny that, like, Joe, like, brings up, he's like, dude, like, the people that hate so many beers right now. Joe's like, man, like, if they just literally knew, like, and I'm not saying, like, everyday life, but, like, I remember, like, bring back to high school, me and Joe, just on a normal weekend, I remember we went duck hunting with Carter, shot our limit of whatever the hell. Thank you, Joe, for that Miller Lite. And shot our limit of ducks, went out, caught a bunch of trout, some redfish. Then he's like, man, let's go out to the lease. And I believe it was the last year of that lease you were on in Hancomer, right, Joe?
That's a fact.
That is a fact. And like we get out there that afternoon, already been duck hunting, fishing. We just take the ducks we had in the bed of the truck, breast them out, cook them on open fire, no seasoning, nothing, just eat it. sleep out at the deer lease, wake up the next day. I remember Joe put me in one of his stands, and he's in another one. He's like, and we're staying out there all weekend. All we had was like water and beer. So whatever we killed, we were just going to eat. And Joe's like staring at this pig, just like, oh, we're about to have some pork, baby. And I just remember him telling me, he's like, he's about to shoot this pig. He gets a text message, "Are spikes allowed?" from me. And as soon as he said yes, he's like, it wasn't seconds. Dropped this damn spike. Joe came and picked me up in like a 1992 Wrangler blue four-wheeler. Some piece of junk, but it got the job done.
I don't know, dude. Like, I have a hard time with that too. I read the comments, I look at the profiles, and I'm like, man, like, dude, if you guys spent a day with us, you'd be hooked. We have so much fun, and this is not what we do full time. This is like just our everyday lives. Like when we started this thing, nothing changed. We had this new brand. We were like wanting to do something new, but it was nothing new to us. It was just documenting what we already do. I mean, it's just like kind of sad too. Sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you know, you guys are this and that." Like, dude, like y'all don't know us. You know what we show you, and that's essentially just what we do on our off time. But it's like,
well, what they see is,
you would love it. I mean, really, really and truly, spend a day with us. You'd have a blast. You have the best day of your life.
You can't really. People are gonna talk shit, man. Anything you do, any industry you want to get into, you know, if you have good exposure, people are gonna shit talk. That's just what people do. But you can't. I mean, you can't let it bother you. It just is what it is.
Definitely
I mean,
not.
People, it's in their nature, man. They're gonna talk shit, and I welcome it and I enjoy it, and you know, I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny sometimes to go and read through there, and it just gives you a laugh. I mean, it's like some of it's outlandish. They're like, oh, you know, like just saying stuff that people have no business saying, not knowing you, you know.
Talking about going back on the hunting thing, I think this podcast is basically just for, thank you. I'm going to have to take a tip of that. But I really think it's just for us just to literally, whatever's on our mind or what we've thought about, and we just talk about it. And what I know in the last podcast behind us, we had this Axis, a big Axis that I'd shot many a year ago. And the story behind that, to me, is probably the most memorable deer hunting story I've ever had. And my uncle used to guide down in South Texas, old Mark Porter, which we're going to have him on the podcast hopefully pretty soon. And we just went down to shoot cold bucks and kind of guiding for some rich dudes down there. And I remember this big just group of axes run out, and they're like, he's like, oh, take one, take whichever one you want. I'm like, okay. So I just choose the gnarliest looking one, shoot, I miss. Because I'm shaking like a leaf, bro. And we're probably 300 out. I'd totally whiff it. I'm not afraid to, some people, I've never missed them.
Oh, I've missed some good deer.
That's another good story.
Yeah. So missed, and I was like, shit. We go down there, we're looking for, blood trail, whatever. And we literally look about 60 yards to our left up in the mesquite brush. There he is, just standing there, just glorious. Mark's like, shoulder it. Mark stands there. I throw a 7 mag on his shoulder, right through the neck. His antlers hit first. It was like antlers, chest, ass. And we were just pumped. I'm talking just fucking go. We're sitting there, and my grandfather is like, call Mimi. And I can't talk. I'm nervous as hell. He can't talk because he's out of breath. So Mark calls Evelyn. He calls Evelyn, and he's like, Mimi, we just shot a big old Axis. He's like, it's 30 plus, main beam. And that thing just sits up, just looks straight at all of us, and just jumps up and almost spears Mark right through the chest. He just matrixed right out of the way, and it ran for like a quarter mile. We just sat there and tracked it. Finally got to him, finished him. But
the last throws of a deer, as I had a similar experience with my oldest brother Luke. I laid out an 11 point. I thought it was an 8 point. It was right at dusk. I shot the deer right in the shoulder, turned and came straight towards us. Laid out right in front of the blind. We waited about 10, 15 minutes. And just as we were getting out of the blind, I mean, had it been a minute before, we'd have been on the ground with a deer that got up looking for somewhere to go. And I'm glad we took our time getting down because this thing got up with some fury. Could have been a bad deal. But hey, on the topic of missed opportunities, Mitchell's going to hate me for this one.
I mean, I was probably...
This is another story he didn't want to get told. We're in Llano, deer hunting whitetail. This is a side of Mitchell y'all don't see. He's an impatient guy. He likes to get it done right now. Porter, can you attest to that?
yes,
He's in the blind with my dad. I'm like a quarter mile away in the blind with my oldest brother. And I think it was early morning hunt.
Yeah, I can tell the story if you'd like. I mean, there's not much to the story. There was a nice deer that presented himself. I missed the shot. That was that. I mean, there's not much to the story.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm going to add some sauce to it and let him know what was really going on. Mitchell missed a shot. He wanted to shoot early. Didn't know. And in his defense, the deer could have come and gone.
Also, it was very young age at this time as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like 12 years old. So you had to have been like 14, 15.
Probably 14.
So days go by. He hunts the blind, wanting to see this deer again. Just praying that this deer comes back out. The last day that we're there, we got to travel back home. It's about a 5 or 6 hour drive for us. Mitchell leaves the blind. He says, screw it, I'm going to go hunt this other blind. We swap. He comes and sits in the blind with me. My oldest brother goes and sits in the blind with my dad. And sure enough, they're sitting in the blind, and here comes that whitetail. Big buck. My dad is on the lookout. Now, we have another brother. He's not as much outdoorsy as we are, I'd say. That was, I think, something new for him at the time. He hadn't been exposed to that much outdoor stuff at that age. So, he's sitting in the blind. He's kind of on his phone. My dad says, he grabs him. He says, big buck, big buck.
big buck.
Yeah, big buck. My brother looks out the window of the box blind they're sitting in. He looks at this deer, and he had his head down. And he looks right back down at his phone. My dad grabbed him. He looked him in the eye, and he said, get your gun. And my brother looked back up, and right at the time he did that deer picked his head up. And it was the most beautiful, perfectly symmetrical 8-point. I mean, big, tall. I don't know what he measured out
21-inch spread.
21 wide, big, long, symmetrical
natural
times.
deer, just
beautiful.
low fence, natural.
Beautiful. Free range. He raised up, he shot him, he dropped. The deer ran off. He shoulder shot him. And I think he ended up coming through. I don't know if he hit hard or long, but he busted that front shoulder. And so as the buck's running off, he trips up and falls. And we get over there. They waited it out a little bit. They called us. We met up with him. And my oldest brother, Luke, he said, man, I don't know if I hit him or not. But as he was running away, I saw him fall down. I said, man, whitetail don't just fall down. They don't trip and fall in their natural environment. They are experts at navigating their environment. And sure enough, another 30 yards, and he was flipped over on his side. And I walked up to him on his left front shoulder, and I picked up his leg, and it just folded over.
Blasted him right on.
Blasted him. I mean, just put it right where it needed to be.
So I know we've all been deer hunting all our lives. That was the first kind of hunting that I was introduced to. 10 years old, shot my first deer. But like, you don't understand the excitement at the time that a young kid does. Like, that's why I'm ready. One of these days when I do have a kid and I take them hunting, they shoot their first deer, it's like, I'm ready to see that excitement. I got to see a taste of that with Josh Winslow when we did that Texas Youth Hunting Program deal. And you take a bunch of kids that have never shot anything, or, they know the gun, how to shoot a gun, and they know gun safety, but they're young. They've never shot anything living. And that is probably one of the most exciting. I was more excited for the kid that I took. He was older, but he's like 15 years old. And when he shot his deer, he was just I'm talking shit in his pants. His dad was in the blind too, so they're like high-fiving, chest bumping, so pumped up. And I wasn't touching the gun, super excited. But like Josh took this little girl, she was 10 years old, and he said he gave her the green light. It wasn't seconds, just dropped it, and she just, wow.
That's what it's all about.
How'd that go again?
Wow. Like the excitement that children have in the natural outdoors like that, shooting something, is just, I cannot wait to share it with my own kids.
That's something that was never taught either. You know, like you go into that not knowing what you're going to experience, and it just takes over you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a feeling for the first time you've never experienced, like that first kiss.
Okay.
Like you just
whoa.
you just
Yeah.
get that
No.
pain that you can never get it again.
No.
Oh, okay.
But-
make me the bad guy.
Yeah. But like how
How did you feel when you shot your first whitetail?
oh man.
Can
Like
you explain that?
I couldn't talk. I mean, I was 10, so I barely could talk anyway. I can't read for sure. I'm damn near dumb. But my dad just told me, he's like, oh, that's a good 8-point. And I just automatically shot. First deer ever I actually hit and, dropped right there. I was like, and he said, I don't remember it. I'm too young, but he's like, you just literally just went dumb. Just never said shit. Just excited. Get down there. He taught me how to field dress a deer, all that stuff. And it was a real special moment. But I think it'll be more special whenever you can share it with someone else.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. So when you field dress a deer, you gut the deer. If you're just on private property, doing your own thing, from gutting a deer, there's 2 cuts of meat, from what I understand. The tenderloins.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's 2 small cuts of meat, the tenderloins. That's really the only pieces of meat you get from gutting the deer, correct?
Yeah, I mean, because you can quarter it out and take backstrap and do all that shit without ever gutting it. But it's just how I was taught. And that, going back to me and Joe's story, like Joe, when he showed up, I already had the deer flipped over and gutted out, just guts laying out in the pipeline rack. And he's like, dude, we could have hung it up and gutted it out right there. I was like, no, dude. Like every deer I've ever shot, I just automatically just lay it open, cut open, and go straight for them tenderloins.
Well, the last deer I shot was like 2 years ago, and it had been years since I had shot a deer. And I shot this deer. I was all pumped up, and I was field dressing it, and I freaking cut into that shit sack, man. And it had just been a while. It had been a while since I've gutted a deer, and I was pumped up, and I slit right into that shit sack, and we all knew it.
Dude, Joe, you already know. I don't even have to say it. What's the worst smelling thing we have ever encountered?
Havies.
That damn javelina. So, hunting down in the King Ranch, whenever you shoot javelina, you have to clean them out. Like, you can't just, a lot of people shoot them, leave them, whatever. But we're cleaning it out. And me and Joe never cleaned a javelina. We're just doing it normal.
Cleaning it like a pig. First time to shoot a javelina. First time to see one, honestly.
Dude, we'd start cutting into that mother, and I sliced through the back, and I hit that damn little stink sack, and the brightest green ooze just goes right on me and Joe, and we were both just gagging. I was like, what is that? It was like the musk sack or whatever.
They have like glands on them?
Yeah, they undoubtedly, when they get nervous, like a skunk, they'll raise the hair up on their back and like excrete some kind of smell.
It had a little pressure on it. It sprayed out at you.
Oh my God, dude.
This is news to me. I never knew. I've never shot a javelina.
Well, have you ever shot one and cleaned it?
No,
Well,
never
man,
have.
Joe have. And it was so gross. Like, I've cleaned pigs, I've cleaned gators, I've done, that javelina was definitely, if you hit the wrong spot of that javelina, it smells like that.
It's indescribable.
It's indescribable. It is disgusting.
I know when I've been gutting a deer and I've popped one. It's real cold. You get in there, that deer's real warm. It was almost there's times where it was like almost like is like a skunk or something, you know, where it smells so bad, but it's kind of got like a nostalgic thing to it.
I love the smell.
Where it's not like, it's not like, you know, that javelina, there's no turning that.
No, dude, it is a distinct odor, and the odor is just pungent.
Oof.
A very pungent smell. Green, and I'm talking like lime green. I don't know what it was. I'm probably going to get heat from this. They'll be like, oh, no, that was...
Get the heat.
It was gross. And I was like, wow, I don't ever want it. I haven't shot one since then. Since we had a clean one, I've never shot another one. I don't care.
Man, I wish over the years I kind of transitioned out of like upland game and like whitetail hunting. I really like to get back into that.
Well, we were on a lease, a good deer lease in Llano, Texas, but we ended up getting off that one. And we really haven't done a whole lot of deer hunting since, but we used to be pretty hard at it. Me and Matthew.
Yeah, we were at it, dude. I know that you and I both slayed some pigs.
We
Between the lease and out on the property in Hampshire.
Well, that property in Llano, I remember one evening me and Matt were hunting, and I had a lever action 308, and Matt had a 223, I believe.
Yeah, it was a AR-15.
We laid out, I don't know how many pigs. I think it was like 6 or 7 one night just that came up to the feeder. But I remember one night out there, it was so cool. They had a diverse population of animals out there. One night I laid a bunch of steak fat out right outside the cabin, and a gray fox came up. It was late at night. I was just going to see what came up to eat whatever I put out. And a gray fox came up to eat my steak fat, and I popped him with my 12 gauge, and he's mounted. I got him mounted too.
Sitting right up over the
over the mantle.
Beautiful gray fox. I popped him as he was eating my leftover steak.
That's probably one of the best meals any animal's ever had. At the last supper,
His last supper
is
Dude,
ribeye
it was
fat.
so cool to get up in an environment like that where you could have around here we think about pigs run everything off. Pigs come in, they root up all your stuff, they root your shit up. They kind of clear it out. They're a big nuisance to us. Up there, it was a little bit different. Like you could have pigs sitting at your feeder, and turkeys would come and run them off. It was like that. It was you'd have 15 pigs up at the feeder, and you'd have 10 turkeys come in just making noise.
Yeah, there was a bunch
run
of
them
turkeys.
off. They'd run the whitetail off. They'd run the pigs off.
What people don't know down here, I think, what runs off doesn't even run them off, just eats the corn before your whitetail do, is wood ducks. Anyone that has any kind of Southeast Texas land, usually it's kind of flooded, and you'll have a feeder go off, and then you have 50 wood ducks just start eating the shit out of that corn.
How about the sound? That just reminded me. How about the sound when you get buzzed by 60 teal?
Well,
there's no way wood ducks can compare to that. They don't fly in numbers that big.
Well, you and Tanner had a good flock of teal this year.
And you know what happened?
Y'all pooched.
I didn't pooch. I pooched. I did for sure. It's a funny story. The week before we were hunting, and Mitchell dropped a box of shells that I had in my bag in the marsh. And you know what that salt water does to your shells? They rust. And so I loaded them up the following weekend because I'm not going to waste shotgun shells. And 2 out of 3 of my shells clicked. And who do I have to blame for that?
You.
Just me, probably.
You probably should have brought some fresh
But anyways,
shells.
it just so happened it was on this, just probably the biggest group of teal I've ever had come in and actually do it. They were dragging webbed feet across the water.
And what's even the reason we could believe them was because we had GoPro footage of 60 teal float in, and you just hear click, 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 click.
And Tanner shot really well. Out of on 3 shots, Tanner shot 4 birds, I think, and I shot 1 on my 1 shot.
Now, I do want to get into this. We have, out of our group, there's 4 or 5 of us that are pretty close and hunt together. So our buddy Tanner has a pretty good retriever by the name of Tex. Buddy Nathan's got I wouldn't say fairly decent. He's still in his early stages by the name of Jax. Great dog. He's a good retriever. Now, Matthew just got one. He's going to be training. Matthew, what did you name that dog?
You want the full name?
I want the name. The name.
I had some good ideas at first. I didn't end up going with them, but the first one I came up with was courtesy of White Goodman on Dodgeball. Fran Stelanoshkovich Davidovitsky. But I did not go with that one. I went with, I named her Marsha. Her name on AKC registry is Bayou Dragons Marshmaster.
I definitely would have gone with the first one, but I do.
Can we get a good pronunciation of that first one once again?
For me?
Yes.
Fran Stelanoshkovich Davidovitsky.
If no one's ever seen Dodgeball, that is probably in the top 5 best quotable movies of all time, and I would definitely recommend that you watch it.
Oh, it's great. We love our movies, too.
We quote a lot of movies.
Quote a lot of movies, man.
Between, like, all Jim Carrey, Adam Sandler, like Happy Gilmore, Ace Ventura, or something like that, it's...
Just the early thousands movies, man. There's just a lot of nostalgia there. It kind of translates over to, like, how goofy we are out in the marsh.
One day we honestly need to have a podcast while we're out in the marsh. Well, we'd have to cut out half of it.
Yeah, it gets vulgar out there sometimes. I brought that home one time, and I told my mom, well, I made the mistake of using a very large amount of profanity right to my mom. I was upset. I was heated. We ran into some guys out there and had some problems, and Mitchell asked me about it. I was telling the story, and I got really carried away, and I actually said out loud what I said to those guys out there right in front of my mom. Had a bad case of marsh mouth.
Marsh mouth is what we call that.
Yeah. And I regret that to this day. My mom's an angel. She didn't deserve to hear that.
No, that Mitchell and Matt's mom is such a saint. I remember growing up, and every Sunday morning, it's like she would wake us up, and she's like, "Come on, children, time to do church." And we'd do church in the living room, and
in the living room after some good breakfast tacos.
Oh yeah,
dude.
I had friends over one time, and I had a like 4 or 5 friends over. She walked into the living room, and we were all still up. She brought out a bar stool and her guitar and sang 7 Spanish Angels to put us to sleep.
My favorite story, though, of y'all's parents, and I wish Jordan Johnson was here to tell this story, but Travo's renowned in Southeast Texas, but he one time he thought he was giving Matthew a nice kiss on the forehead, tell him good night. He kissed Jordan right on the forehead. "Good night, buddy." And Jordan was just like froze. When he told me that, I was like, "Oh my God."
Good times, man. Old Jordan. That dude turned into quite a hog himself, featured in quite a few of our videos recently.
Yeah, he got posted on our Instagram today.
I'll tell you what, man, Jordan is a really good dude.
He's not that great.
I enjoy him, man.
He's okay.
Yeah, whatever. But I've done the dude since I was a kid. We got so many good people around us, man. Like, I can't stress that enough when we're, like, making videos and talking about what we do. Dude, like, you guys are just the greatest. And, I mean, like, I'm not going to say myself included. Does one of y'all want to say me? But anyways, we have, like, such a great group of friends, man. Like, we're able to just do, like, whatever, you know, and when we're spending time together, it's not ever, I don't know, there's never any, like, pressure on us. Like, we can grab people we haven't seen in years and go out and have a blast.
Well, I mean, yesterday was my first true Bayou sandbar, well, Wednesday, I guess. Wasn't a sandbar Sunday, but I had a blast out there. Smashed a couple of Miller lattes and drove around on the boat, the jet ski. Old RJ brought his jet ski.
Dude, I haven't cranked my mud motor since duck season, and I went out there. I wasn't even really expecting. I thought it was going to be hard to, you know, get going, but first crank, she cranked right up. First pull.
That's that Go Devil reliability.
She's ready.
Go Devil reliability, man, and I 100% stand behind Go Devil Surface Drive mud motors. They are probably the most reliable, not the fastest, but the most reliable mud motor on the market today, in my opinion.
In Mitchell's opinion. I have to agree, too. I've been in the oldest, most beat Go Devils, and they still run like a top.
I've not had the first issue. I've had that, I don't know how long I've had that motor now, several years now, and I have not had one issue with it.
Porter, I saw a video the other day someone sent to me of you jumping out of a boat, jumping out of a bass boat.
Yeah, that
on
was
Taylor's.
That was my bass boat. I just thought, wow, this would be a good idea. There's 6 of us on the boat. And I look over at Bryce, old Bryce Bodwine. I go, hey, in like 10 seconds, I'm jumping out of the boat. He's like, nah, P-Mate, don't do that. We're going like 45, 50. And I was like, I'm doing it.
Every bit of it. And
I'm just driving.
It looked faster in the video, honestly.
Well, the video makes it look like you're going 1,000, but I just I had him videoing, and no one knew what was happening. And I just jump out. He jumped over and grabbed the wheel. Probably not the smartest.
You idea. Literally, you were in the gunner seat. You were driving.
Yes, I was driving.
It
was not
from the time that you went to driving to the time you were in the water was like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. We've not done the smartest things, so don't do that.
Yeah, don't listen. We don't recommend or advocate for any of the things that we do. We just hope you guys get enjoyment from watching us do it. Don't do that.
That's a good way to put it, the way you just said it, because I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I don't know big words.
Yeah, don't do things that you see us do, please.
But we just hope y'all enjoy them for sure.
Yeah, we're just here for y'all's enjoyment. We're going to document the things that we do, even if they're stupid.
I just know I'm ready. Today I messaged a friend of mine from North Texas. I was like, I just hope you're ready for duck season as much as we are. We have big trips coming.
Yeah, man, I will say there was like a year, like 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I was kind of burnt, man. I had a job that allowed me to hunt just every single day of duck season. I could cancel jobs. I could say, hey, I'm not working. And I hunted every single day. The following year, I just wasn't that happy about it. I wasn't all ate up with it like I was. I went about a year where I just hunted. I maybe hunted a handful of times that season.
Well, you were, for several years, you were very diehard.
I was in there.
And out here, you have to be that way to be able to hunt good areas publicly. You have to be
die hard.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work.
I guess, I don't know. I guess I just kind of got burnt out. There was that year where I just kind of took it off. And then a very good friend of mine, a coworker also, his name's Dustin, that following season that I didn't do much hunting, that following year, we're sitting at work together for 12 hours a day, and he's like, dude, he's counting down the days. He's got it down to the hour that duck season's going to hit, and it freaking lit a fire under my butt, and I've been at it ever since.
All right.
Hello, Joe.
But anyway.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. We're going to run out of video time.
Yeah.
That's cool. Anyways, yeah, but we're back at it. We got some exciting things coming. I'm really excited for this duck season to take some more trips and get to spend some more time in the blind with you guys.
Got some really good trips planned for this year. I've already had a great year doing some really cool stuff, and we got some, pretty exciting things planned for towards the end of the year in duck season. I'm pumped up.
Yep, and
ready to roll, man.
We've met through social media a bunch of cool people that are willing to, share their experience with us, like different people from Arkansas or Nebraska, or we've had people from Canada reach out and it's like, hell yeah, dude. I'm not afraid. I'll drive.
And it's cool too because we've hunted Arkansas. I can't say I've hunted Canada, but like it's different getting to go with people that are just, the same way we are, and that's their native land. They get to share their experience like we would share ours with them.
I just like hunting different terrain, changing it up, because down here it's the same old, same old.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's a lot more. You shoot a lot more birds up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's demanding in a different way down here.
It'll be an experience. I'm glad that I'm going to be on y'all's first ever dry field goose hunt this year, and it's going to be, we're going to smack them.
Yeah, we got Matthew, the potential mouth caller here. Heard a little sample of that earlier. Pretty impressed.
Well, it was a newly discovered talent.
But anyway, we're going to probably wrap it up for this episode. Once again, we appreciate all the support, and what a treat it was to have Cotton Eye Joe on this episode. Man, a few words, but great fella, good friend of ours, and a Bayou dragon.
Absolutely. Through and through.
All right, guys. We appreciate y'all tuning in. The TikTok live, we appreciate it, and we're going to keep trying to put out good content.